Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of my Clipper faithful. Thank you so much for joining me on December 2nd. We have a lot to talk about. We have a VIP with us today. We have Mark Lurie of Shipyard and, of course, of Clipper. And I'll give you a moment to say hello while people trickle in, and then we're going to go over through our agenda and invite them over to YouTube Live. Mark, thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me, and thanks everyone for joining. I am no VIP. I am your humble servant. So thank you all for all your efforts in this community.
Humility from the top. You probably actually don't even have the adventure VIP role, so you actually aren't a VIP. So that's good to know. So where I'd like to start today is yesterday, Mark, if you, I believe I told you, but we, for the first time, simulcasted our Discord event in YouTube Live. So it wasn't just a recording afterwards, it was also in YouTube Live, and it went really well. So we're doing that again today. So for all of the 133 people that are in the audience, and as more people trickle in, I invite you to go to youtube.com/@Shipyard Software. We are live right now, and that means that you can see video at the same time. I see people is already in chat, but we're live. You can see video, you can see what's on my screen. I do have really cool images. Mark, I invite you to also do that and mute the stream so we can talk about images that we're looking at together. And just to entice people, the first person that comes to youtube.com/@Shipyard Software and writes in chat the word Clippertopia, CLIPPERTOPIA, I'm going to award that person 5 MATIC. Krabby, congratulations. You get yourself 5 MATIC. And as I always like to remind people, these funds, we're doing a lot of giveaways these days, and that's because we made the early access ticket sale for Adventure 3, which happened in the first week of November. We did really well on those sales. That money all goes completely into the DAO. So it's a part of Clipper governments for Admiral DAO. And we like to turn around and take some of those funds and pump it right back into the community. So if you participate in adventures, if you participate in our calls, if you help us with stuff like sound checks, or let us know that Shipyard Software Live is working, you're going to get yourself 5 MATIC. So I am putting Krabby as our first giveaway winner. Congratulations to you. All right. I'm going to quickly go through the agenda so you know what's ahead of you, and then we're going to get right into it. So the main purpose of today is an AMA with Mark. That's going to be at the end. Clipper captains have collated some of the best questions, and Mark's going to choose the best questions, answer them, and we're going to award prizes based on that. We also have some really excited updates about what is happening in Clipper, and that's what we're going to start with. And then we're going to do a lot of talking about the adventure, specifically the quizzes, which are on community values and leverage connected to a product which is coming out designed by Shipyard Software in Q1 of 2023. That is called Longship. That's leverage. And we're going to talk about Quest 3 and another exciting launch, which is the inventory screen. I can't wait for that. That comes Monday. We're going to have a discussion about our community values, and then we're going to end with the AMA as I talked about. So that's the preview of the agenda. I'm going to pass the mic over to Mark. Thank you so much again for being here. We have, I would say, 2 or 3 pretty exciting announcements. One thing that's launching today, one thing that's launching Monday, the inventory screen. But Mark, I don't want to steal your thunder. Can you tell everyone what's going on? What's happening today?
Yes, I'm very, very excited to announce that Clipper is expanding to its next chain, Arbitrum.
Let's go. Arbitrum. We got asked for that a lot.
That's right. Well, now it's finally here, and it's going live today. So now we're going to be live throughout the Ethereum ecosystem. We're on mainnet, Polygon, Optimism, and Arbitrum, and I think that's really awesome. Obviously there's a whole lot of chains, and one day we're going to be on all of them, but we got to do things right when we do them, and so one at a time. So I'm really pumped that we're going to be on Arbitrum. I'm really pumped to join the Arbitrum community. Their team has been really helpful, and we'll be integrated into DEX aggregators there. We are starting with several 100,000 in the liquidity pool. I see no reason why yields shouldn't be as high as they are on Optimism and Polygon, which is quite high, and price is very competitive. So very excited for that, and thank you to the entire team of core contributors for working really hard on that.
Yeah, it's really cool, and we're not only can you get involved in the pool right now, but if you're a part of the adventure, we are, we are agile and swift and adaptive, and now Arbitrum's launched, so Arbitrum is going to be part of Quest 3, which we'll talk about in a few moments. You'll get to interact with Arbitrum and earn badges, but we're so excited to have it. We'll have more details on this. We have a blog launching later today, but get out there and be on Arbitrum. I want to remind the audience that if you want to ask me a question, the channel that we'll be monitoring is #AMA. We already have lots of questions there, so make sure to @me, and we'll get to it when we get to the AMA session. The next thing I want to ask you about, Mark, to tell the community is, so we have Arbitrum, we're launching a lot of chains. I'd mentioned Longship, we're going to have a new product coming out. Shipyard Software is designing stuff, which means we need people to help us. And we have a job posting on AngelList. Mark, can you talk a little bit about that? And yes. I'll post the link in chat, actually.
Awesome, thank you. So Clipper Core is a lean, mean, small team. We have about 12 people and a fantastic front-end developer, Ado. But there's, as we expand to more chains, as more people are using the front end, as we start integrating more and more into sites, whether they be DeFi Llama and Token Terminal and, all the various sites where you can monitor trades and yields. And as we start thinking about other DEXes like Longship, the work becomes a lot. And so we're hiring another front-end developer to be part of this lean, mean development team. We would really appreciate everyone's help in referring the most amazing front-end developers we pasted the link in the chat. It'll go to AngelList. Just tell them to apply on AngelList. And if they are, if we hire them, we'll ask who referred them. And if they're finalists, we'll ask who referred them. And and you should ask anyone you refer, if they became a finalist or got hired. And then if those line up, then we'll give you a role because it's like a huge value add, and B, we'll give you an award of MATIC as well. So please do let us know who the best front end developers are, and ask them to apply on AngelList. This role is going to make each and every one of your experience using Clipper better, like direct impact. And so for all of our sake, we really appreciate you tapping your networks.
That's right. Thanks so much, Mark. And, you help us and we help you. We like to reward our users because we're a community. We're all in this together. Clipper stays strong when we all work together. That's kind of a big part of our values. And for those of you who are in the adventure, there is a specific task, which is a badge earning mission during Quest 3, which is that referral. So you find the most talented front-end dev give us their LinkedIn, tell us a few sentences about why you're referring them. And if they make it to some of the final cuts, you're going to get roles, you're going to get MATIC, and everyone is happy. Clipper gets better. It couldn't be more exciting. Thanks a lot, Mark. So I would like to transition now into talking about the adventure. And Mark, I know you know about it, but I'm going to talk to you as if you're kind of new and let you know what's going on. And I'll use this time to give an Adventure 3 update for everyone who wants to hear it. So we are finishing up our second quest of Adventure 3, which is constructing Clippertopia. And the overall story here is that the 6 ships, Amaranth Argo, Bloodsail Bandit, Fleet Elite, Flying Dutchman, Golden Galleon, Sapphire Sphinx, after they released the Spirit Captains and freed them, they said, hey, we kind of work together pretty well. So they sit together and they decide they're going to found a community called Clippertopia. And the purpose of the adventure is we're all working together to build what Clippertopia looks like. So for the first quest, all of the adventurers submitted artwork. We had over 10,000 pieces of artwork. And kind of the narrative arch of this is we're building the port and the tavern and the voting hall and all this stuff. And this is the blueprints to what they look like. And the best art got chosen, and those Clipper creators were given a Clipper creator role, NFT, and they're earning points for their team. The winners were given 75 MATIC. The finalists were getting 15 MATIC, and it's really cool. That was week 1.
It's so incredible.
Yeah.
I just got to say, like, everyone here, the art was so cool.
Yeah.
I was so impressed.
And where can we... So it's all in the art submissions channel. Actually, let me announce a side quest right now. We're going to make all of the art public. If you find a cool way to display all of the art, all those 10,000 pieces of art, and ideas kind of like pointillism, make the Clipper logo using all those pieces of art. If you send me something cool, I will give you the Clipper creator role, and I'll give you 50 MATIC. So there's a little side quest. If you're part of the adventure, you'll get points for your ship too. So look, we want that. We want to use your artwork, so help us use it. So anyway, that was quest 1. We're now in quest 2. The purpose of quest 2, it ends this Sunday, midnight at UTC. But what happens in Quest 2 is we launched a sub-channel called Community Values in our Discord. We also put it on our website. And we launched a module on 101.xyz about Longship. Those were both learning resources to help our adventurers and pirates take 2 quizzes. The 2 quizzes showed up on your profile screen. I'll log into that for those of you who are watching me on YouTube Live. When you log in, it shows you the ability to look at your 2 quizzes. And those quizzes were on community values and Longship leverage. You can see Open Quiz A, Open Quiz B. You can see the scoreboard down here. And yesterday we went over those quiz answers, but I asked all of our users to ask whatever questions you wanted about leverage, about community values, and put them forward to Mark today in our AMA. So that's Quest 2. Just a little bit of housekeeping. Your deadline to submit the final quiz is Sunday midnight at UTC. That's around 7 p.m. Eastern. And then after that, we go into Quest 3, which begins on Monday. We're going to talk about Quest 3 in a moment, but first I want to talk about actually, let me pop to our agenda and see if we're ready to go into it. Yeah, so I told you about Quest 1, I told you about Quest 2. Before we get into Quest 3, let's dive a little bit into what we did in Quest 2. So Mark, I invite you to go to #communityvalues in our Discord. And I invite everyone in the audience to go there as well. And very briefly, Mark, myself, people on the team, we discussed what the purpose of values are, like what it means, and the principles that spring from them. And we ultimately came down with, well, you know what? I'm going to let the community tell me. This is for someone in Shipyard Software, the live stream. The first person to tell me all 3 community values, what they are, I'm going to give that person 10 MATIC. I'm going to award it Krabby because he was first, but also from now on, if you've already been awarded, we're going to give it to another person. So Krabby and Crispy told us knowledge, camaraderie, and playfulness. Thank you so much. Let me go and bring Krabby up to 15 MATIC, and Crispy gets up to 10 MATIC. Feel free to message me afterwards with your wallet, and we will get you sorted. So they mentioned knowledge, camaraderie, and playfulness. We go into great detail into what that means in our #community values subchannel, and you needed to go through that and grapple with it to answer the quizzes. So Mark, before I go into detail, or maybe I won't go into detail, I just wanted to give you a chance to talk about the community values, why we put so much time into it, what it means for the community. If you have anything specific to say about knowledge, camaraderie, or playfulness, the floor is yours to tell us about values, how you see fit.
Thank you, Ben. And thank you for everyone for engaging with these values. This is so important. This is the most important thing about our community, is our values. So let me try to explain why. We're trying to build a Clippertopia. That's the theme of the adventure. And that's named after utopia, right? And utopia is not something we can ever actually get to, but it gives us a North Star. It's something we aspire to. It's what we want to be. And only by knowing what we want to be as a community can we be better and move towards that as a community. Values is what help us get there, okay? And they do that in 2 ways. First, they define our culture and make it a place we want to be. And that's really important. We all need to want to be here for this to be a good community. And that's key to make decentralization work. Now, values are based on things that we just kind of fundamentally believe are important, right? So there's standards that define the culture of a group, right? And they should be things we can kind of measure quantitatively or qualitatively. And so anything that increases those values is good, and that should make us feel pride, and anything that decreases those values should create shame. This is just how all groups of people work naturally, right? But we want to be deliberate about it. And so for example, like most societies, almost all, believe life is good, right? Mm-hmm. And we want to protect and support human life, okay? Because of that, one value we have is health. So anything we do that increases the value or increases the health of ourselves and others is something we all take pride in. And in general, anything that we do or other people do that hurts the health of ourselves or others, like killing someone, makes us feel shame, right? And I think that's something we probably all feel. And that's how pride and shame help us operate together and work together and be in a community. So Clipper values.
Sorry. Keep going, please. I so many thoughts because it's important to us. Yeah. I mean, these values are so important, and I love that you stress that it's the most important thing. My comment to this is, in light of our particular industry and just the world in general and how people have behaved forever, it's very easy to say this, right? As a prominent FTX CEO said, if you say the correct shibboleth, people write you. They like you for these values. So it's easy to say it. What's important is actually following through and having your behavior reflect it. And you just can't know if people are just saying it or they're doing it. So our purpose here is to put these out front and center, to always talk about them, let our users and ourselves and our community grapple with it, have them change, have them adapt, but most importantly, let them not be words, let them be actual actions. So for instance, in our next quest, a big part of the off-chain activity is Crew 3 tasks that are directly related to these values of knowledge, camaraderie, and playfulness. So they're not just words on paper, they're actually actions that you put into the real world, and we will reward you for it, and we will reward you for it richly because it is so important to us.
I think that is very well put. And one way to make sure that values are real and not just, fake and shibboleths is to talk about them a lot, reference them a lot, and use them to hold leadership to account. So our commitment to you is if we do things, and we make mistakes, obviously, that decrease knowledge, decrease camaraderie, or decrease playfulness, you should call us out and explain to us why what we're doing decreases those things. And we should be rewarding you for holding us to account for making mistakes that violate these values. And that's how you'll know they're real when they work to hold leadership accountable in addition to each other accountable. So I encourage you to do that.
Yeah, I love it, Mark. Thank you so much. And this is going to be an ongoing conversation throughout the life of Clipper, which we hope is, who knows, 1 million more years, as long as the blockchain exists. I want to be cognizant. I honestly could talk about values for all day, but we have a lot to get to, so I want to move on for now.
I want to mention one more thing. So first, in the community values channel, you can see these written out. I just want to mention first why knowledge, camaraderie, and playfulness are important. And then second, I just want to briefly explain why principles are important for decentralization. Okay. So first, I'll try to do this quick. Why knowledge, playfulness, and camaraderie? I think knowledge to me is a big part, and to us, I think, is a big part of like the purpose of life, right? Is seeking knowledge and truth. And I think that's just like a almost like religious point that truth is good and knowledge increases truth.
Amen.
So that's 2. Playfulness is just like, part of being human. Even animals play, right? We want to live a life with playfulness. It's just core to our being. It's very primal. And so that's very important. And camaraderie is because human connection is like so important to happiness and what makes us feel fulfilled, right? And so we want things that increase camaraderie to make us feel pride. Okay, so that's where these came from. And then the really cool thing about values is that they imply principles, right? Which is, okay, like if the goal is that we increase camaraderie, playfulness, and knowledge, then it gives us rules of thumb of how to act. And these are principles, right? Mm-hmm. Things that generally increase these values and generally, avoid decreasing these values. And why those principles are important is because it enables everyone to act in a same way without anyone have to telling them what to do, right? We will all make the same decisions if we follow the same principles. And so that's why this is so important, because this is the key to making a community that can actually decentralize itself. And so please go in and read the principles. And over time, we encourage you to add more principles, and we'll develop this corpus of principles so everyone understands ways to make decisions that align with each other.
It's beautiful, Mark. I mean, I really mean it. I know I'm like slightly more kumbaya than the average person, but this is important. And if you model your life, if this is what gives you purpose and direction, then you really can't be steered wrong, because every step you take is intentional. And if the intentional step is to increase knowledge, camaraderie, and playfulness, and that truth is the goal, I just don't see how it could go wrong. So I'm all for it. I'm gonna slide along in this slipstream. So thank you very much. Let's move on now. So we have 2 more sections that we're going to talk about. We're going to preview Quest 3 and tease the inventory screen, and we're also going to do an AMA session. I already see tons of questions in the AMA channel. So when we get there, Mark, I'm going to have you go through and mark the ones that you like with the fire icon, and you'll help me find the best ones. While we're at it, I see that Noman, TM, Rat, Squidlip, Secco asked, why is the computer, he asked back at 9:25 before it started, why is community values of Clipper so important? And since we expounded on that for about 15 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and say he's going to win one of the awards of best questions. So the people that get best question awards, I'm going to award you 5 MATIC, and we're going to give your ship 10 points. So Bloodsail
and that's because the best questions increase our collective knowledge.
Perfect.
They map to our values.
Always bring it back to, we want to be led by our values, and Rat Squidlip Secco is increasing our knowledge right now. So great job to Bloodsail Bandit, who has, I think, 28,000 points. So here's 10 more to you guys. All right. So we talked about Quest 1 and Quest 2, and I want now to turn to Quest 3, which begins
so glad, because I am so pumped for Adventure 3. So much work has gone into this. It's going to be so awesome.
Yeah, actually, that's so. How are we gonna, let's talk about what's going to happen, and then Mark, I want you to talk about sort of the dangers of a launch with a small team and managing expectations. It's gonna be cool no matter what, but I do want you to talk about that a little bit. So let me very briefly preview it. And again, for those of you who are on Shipyard Software YouTube, I want you to see, you're gonna get it soon if you're part of the adventure, but you can see it right now if you come to Shipyard Software's YouTube page. What I have on screen is a list of about 70 NFT badges and icons that we're going to allow our adventurers to earn in Quest 3. So come Monday, we'll give you guys 75 tasks, and you go through and do them, and you can earn, look at this cool artwork. This is artwork created by the community. Clipper sponsor, helper doctor, translator. You can buy health potions. You can get the Clipper creator badge if you made good artwork. We have a ton of on-chain activity. So if you're interacting with Arbitrum, Ethereum, Polygon, Optimism, either by doing a certain amount of swaps or a certain amount of liquidity, you're going to get liquidity badges. And all this stuff earns you points for your team. It gets you a really cool piece of artwork. And that artwork is going to be displayed on your very own inventory screen, which is at your login for the adventure. So I have that up on screen. You can see that the treasure chest is blurred out, but come Monday, December 5th, that's going to be unblurred. And as you guys start to earn your badges, you're going to populate that screen with your NFT badges. And of course, not only is it just roles, NFT badges, and points for your screen, but really the distinguished people, because again, we want to turn around and reward people financially as well. Our top people are going to get MATIC as well. So come give to our on-chain liquidity pool, and our LPs will be rewarded. So, and while I'm at my on-screen, I just see right now that my score was updated. So you can see I have a score of 10. That's because I submitted the quizzes. This is going to go right into what you were talking about, Mark, that this is a startup, this is Web3, this is crypto, but a lot of users noticed that they submitted the quiz and they weren't getting their scores. Well, we, as the devs, realized that we were calculating scores incorrectly. I think maybe an endpoint was hidden, if we could do a little bit of technical jargon. But it looks like that's been fixed. And now when you submit your quiz, you're going to get 10 points. 10 points was the maximum that you could earn from Quest 2 individually via quizzes. So I'm happy to say that myself, as the creator of the quiz, I did get all 10. Okay, I previewed Quest 3. If I could just very shortly say again, you have on-chain activity via depositing and swapping in our 4 networks, Optimism, Arbitrum, Ethereum, and Polygon. You have off-chain activity, which is going to be done through a Crew 3 ship-specific place. All of the Crew 3 quizzes map to our values of knowledge, camaraderie, and playfulness, and you do tasks that map to those, and you'll earn points and badges. And the last thing you can do is you can support your ship directly by simply buying health potions. We're going to launch that Open Seas contract soon. We have a small health potion which gets you 10 points. A large health potion is 25. A grand health potion is 60. You should buy them and support your team. The artwork is beautiful. And it's a way to, look, if you don't want to do values, but you want to vote with your pocketbook, it's a way to help everyone. As always, all of the money that is earned throughout the adventures, that's early access tickets, that's all NFT sales, all of them always go into the governing DAO, the multi-sig wallet controlled by Admiral DAO, and money from there always comes back. It will generally come back to the community as well. So Mark, that was a lot of talking, a lot of previewing, a lot of artwork if you're on our YouTube page. If you could talk a little bit about crisis management, launches, and managing expectations in our new industry. And Drew Tozer, I don't know if you're in the audience, but if you have anything to say, DM me and we'll make your notes said as well. Mark, the floor is yours. Thank you for letting me talk.
Thank you. So, so new products are really hard. In general, the best way to develop new projects is iterative, right? You put out a feature, you see what happens, you learn from it, you get feedback, you improve it. Sometimes that's hard when you do big launches, right? We're going to launch this inventory screen, and thousands of people, there's like 30,000 people in the adventure, are going to start using it right away. Okay, I guarantee you we messed something up in it. I guarantee you there's bugs. Okay, that just happens with every product launch. Now, there are ways to minimize those. That is with testing, rigorous testing, security audits. There's a lot you can do. The question is, when is it worth doing that and when is it not? Okay, so here's how we think of this. If there is something where users are putting their money in a protocol, right, and user money is at risk, then it has to be incredibly secure. We have to have done tons of audits. We have to have near 100% test coverage. We have to put all our resources into this being perfect. That comes at the trade-off of speed, time, diversity of features, because doing that level of diligence and quality assurance is a real investment and really takes a lot of time and work. Okay. So when we're not dealing with customer money and the stakes are lower, or user money and the stakes are lower, then it's actually, I think, better to just put out products, see how they're used, and not put the same level of rigor into making sure they're perfect. Okay. So the inventory screen and all these NFTs and the journeys we're creating in this adventure, they're not risking money, and so we are moving fast. And the cost of moving fast is that it's going to break some things. So I just want to warn you up front and ask for everyone's empathy and support when things break. I don't know how they will. We've tried to think of it as much as we can, but I'm sure that there's some mistakes. And so when those happen, don't be surprised. We're looking for your feedback. We will react to your feedback, and we will make it better and fix it. And it might take a few turns. So I just want to give that caveat to everyone and explain that that's a deliberate choice. Certain things we make incredibly secure. Certain things we choose to move fast, even if it means that there may be bugs. This is one of the things where we're moving fast and there may be bugs.
Well
and
said.
That's hard
Yeah.
to 30,000 people, but we don't want to hold it back.
Yeah, well said, Mark. And when you said it's iterative and we need your empathy and support, you then followed up, but I immediately thought, and feedback. So it's iterative, meaning we're going to give multiple passes at this, and we need your help. Again, we're working together. It's not just the dev team. It's our entire community makes Clipper. So we put it out, you try it, you tell us what you liked, what you didn't like, what could be better, give us suggestions. A lot of the cool things we've done in the community have come directly from suggestions from you all. You're as important part of Clipper and Admiral DAO as we are. We're all members here. So thank you, Mark, for that. And we're excited to launch this inventory screen on Monday. And so just so everyone knows, right now, when we talk about iterative, the inventory screen that we're putting out right now, it's just for the adventure users. Now, it's a ton of people. It's 30,000. But the goal here is that this is going to be a feature or a product, or I guess feature is the right word, for everyone. So everyone can have cool ways to display how they have interacted with Clipper, how they've become a Clipper citizen, how they espouse the values, how they interact in the community. There's going to be a very tangible way to show your interaction and loyalty and participation within the community. So thanks again, Mark. Look out for the inventory screen coming Monday. And now let's head to our last section of the show, which is AMA. And Mark, I invite you to go to the hashtag AMA channel. There is tons of stuff here. Pick out the questions that you think are cool. Let's go through them. Let's answer them. Let's reward people. While we're talking about rewards, and while we are purposefully tying them to our values, in the spirit of camaraderie, I would ask two things. People who are in this call, I want you to make a summary of this call, a written summary, because people sometimes don't have 45 minutes to watch, and send it to me. The best one, I'll give you a badge, a role, some MATIC. If you're on the adventure, I'll give your team some points. And the other thing is I want someone to timestamp this so we can make sure our YouTube channel has kind of chapters. Section 1 started at 3 minutes. The AMA section started at however many minutes we're in right now. So that's 2 tasks for you guys to do in line with camaraderie. I'm hopefully buying Mark some time to find some AMA questions. So find those, send them to us, and we will reward you because we work together. And now I'm done talking. Mark, do you got a question you want to dive into?
There's so many. I'm just going to start from the top, and I'll let you kind of break in if you want to highlight others.
Sounds good.
I'm definitely not going to be able to get to all, but
yeah.
So I'll jump around a bit. Okay, so Jesus says, I don't know why we are doing these tasks. Are we just doing it to get a role in an NFT? That's actually a great question. So there's the tasks are all organized around the values, right? Increasing knowledge, increasing playfulness, and increasing camaraderie. Everything, all the tasks are organized around that to try to increase those things for each person individually and for the community, right? And so the roles in NFTs help kind of make it fun and encourage that. But like that's our guiding principle for the tasks. And at the end, the goal is to make people better community members and make the community better according to our values and more vibrant. That is key on the path to healthy decentralization, okay, and decentralization of governance, right? We need a healthy community before we do governance, because otherwise governance just doesn't really work. We've all been in DAOs where like, no one votes and no one really cares. Yeah. So that's why this is all important. Now, a few people have asked Wen Token. We can't comment on that because we're a U.S. company. And unfortunately, I have to just leave it at that.
Yeah, great start, Mark. Let me hop in and say and now we have 375 people in our audience right now. Thanks so much for joining us. So when Mark goes through questions, if I react to your question with a fire emoji, and only from Floss to X Daily, you are welcome to DM me your wallet. I will send you 5 MATIC, and if you're on an adventure team, I will give that team 5 points. So that's how we're going to do the awards for MATIC and points for the best questions. Mark, back to you.
Great. Okay. I see a bunch of questions about like, specific issues with the adventure. Like, maybe you couldn't submit something at the right time. Maybe there was a mix-up. Maybe, the ships are not weighted fairly. Those are all things we're looking at and we're going to try to fix and improve. And so, that's great feedback. And either this adventure or next adventure, we'll do it better.
And
always trying to.
What I'll add to that is we will make sure to give a feedback form at the end of the adventure. We want that feedback collated in one place, and we'll iterate, as we say. If you have questions that kind of need immediate answering, it's always okay to @ me. I generally check all my messages. I get messages all the time. But if you want a faster answer, always @ your captains in your specific captain's channel. We have 30 captains. They're all really good. We're in constant contact. They work really hard, and they'll probably be able to answer the question. And if they can't, they will escalate it to me. And generally, I'll check my captain's questions before I check the general plebs, because that's just, you gotta, I don't know what the word is, make it easier.
Decentralized efforts.
There you go. Thank you, Mark. All right, so ask your captains, and then you can @ me. All right, Mark, go ahead. If you've got questions lined up, go for them. Otherwise, I'll ask you some.
All right, there's some roadmap questions. We do plan to add a lot more functionality to the app. For example, Goost has asked about bridging and other networks. We plan to go to other chains. Once we're on even more chains, we do intend to introduce bridging, which I think will be very exciting. I think it'll be one of the best places to bridge in small amounts. There's a trade-off between security and speed and convenience. Clipper is designed for retail traders and self-made traders like all of us, not huge whales. So like we can give you speed and let the kind of to do bridging, in a way that has a different trade-off than if you're bridging like 200 grand or $1 million. Anyways, that's on the roadmap. And just a heads up.
Yeah, the only thing I'll add to that is there is a Dinobot command .roadmap, ROADMAP, and it kind of goes through our general at-large plans for the next few months, and it also links to a YouTube video where we talk about those things in depth. So that's on our YouTube channel, and you can find it in Discord with .roadmap. And Mark, if you see a question, will you just let me know the name of the person who asked it so I can go ahead and mark it? Thanks a lot.
Yes.
You know what? Let me hop in, because What's Good, who is one of our community leaders and a power user, he asked a question I want to hear your answer to. What is the Clipper team most proud of during 2022? And if you had a list of the top 3 key performance metrics, what would they be? I want to hear your answer to that, Mark.
Oh, that's a great question. Okay. Honestly, the thing I think I'm most proud of is the community that's emerging around Clipper.
Beautiful.
In any technology, any product, the product is a function of the people, right? If you have a ton of people who are interested in building something together, then you can always introduce new products, right? Because products are variable, people are constant. And so I'm like, I just am blown away by the vibrancy of this community, what people are contributing, the adventures. That's like, I'm extremely proud of that. And on the dev side, I'm just like, I think so few DEXes have actually managed to be sustainable. Like either prices aren't that good or yields after impermanent loss are actually negative. And I'm just like so impressed that, that Clipper has, not only best prices, but, yields that are actually profitable after impermanent loss. And that is surprisingly hard. And I'm very proud of the team for accomplishing that. The other part of the question was KPIs, right?
Top 3 key performance metrics. What would they be?
Okay. Number 1, organic users. Number of organic users who use Clipper, right? We have a lot of flow coming in through DEX aggregators, but like what we actually focus on is the number of organic users who are using it directly.
Right. Human users that go to Clipper.exchange and press buttons with their human fingers.
Yes.
Through our UI.
Second is protocol revenue, right? Protocol revenue and earnings. So in order to make this all sustainable, the system has to work and the DAO has to earn money so it can reinvest. And so we look at the amount of fees that, we make sure the prices are competitive. That generates flow that earns LPs fees, but the yields are so high that the DAO can claim a portion of those fees. And so that's the protocol earnings. And that makes a sustainable project so that it'll survive long-term, not just short-term. So I think those are a few KPIs that we focus a lot on.
Great. One thing that I'll add that I'm proud about, because I personally have benefited of it, and it always comes back to our values, right, of knowledge. Like, for instance, the blogs.clipper.exchange, where we're really teaching not just about Clipper, but all about Web3. Like, I know we have one you mentioned, impermanent loss. I know we have a blog piece coming out about impermanent loss as a choice. And I just love that this is a place in a pretty... DeFi is dangerous, as our CTO always says. DeFi has sharp edges. So you need to know what you're getting into. And I love that this is a place where we really encourage our community to be the smartest people around. It just feels good to be a part of it. So knowledge is what I'm proud of.
Awesome. All right. Vayer asks, what is the relationship between Clipper Longship and Admiral DAO? Great question. Admiral DAO at admiraldao.xyz is the DAO that governs Clipper and Longship. All earnings that come from Clipper and Longship go into Admiral DAO, and it will make product decisions. That's where we're going to decentralize governance over time. And I hope there'll be a big ecosystem, and everyone who's involved in Clipper will kind of, be involved in Admiral DAO by proxy.
Yeah.
And then this is a great point of feedback. Maybe this is a bit personal, but I want to hear the voice from the team other than Floss. Great feedback. You're right.
Feelings hurt. Fair.
Let's do that.
We're doing it right now, right? We're a feedback heard, noted, and
that's true.
And coming
that's
back.
True. But we should have more with other members of the community, and we should also feature other members of the core team, and we should also feature members of the community because they have a lot to add too.
Yeah. So to that point, next Friday, December 9th, I guess it is, we're going to be having Angie, aka Tezzy, our chief of staff, and Drew Tozer, lead design, to come talk about principles for designing Adventure 3 and adventures in general. I cannot overstate how talented these two people are. So be there and hear from more people on the team. And we've had internal talks about kind of highlighting our developers so we can have fireside chats with the developers in the future. And I also love it when community members come up. So just getting to talk, we should meet all of our captains and hear their voices. So all this, it's in the works, man. It's all coming. So thanks a lot. Great suggestion.
Cool. Michael... by the way, Ben, you should break in, and I know that the captains have compiled some questions. I think we should prioritize those. So I'll keep going through, but if those have been submitted, I think I see at least one. Why don't you break in and ask me those, because those are like the efforts of a whole ship.
Totally. Captains, at me. I see that Abby sent me one in AMA. If you have collated stuff, just so I can see it easier, send it to me in DM, and I'll get to it. Okay. But Mark, why don't we just do that right now? Is that all right with you? So
sure. Yeah.
So I have a question. These are the collated questions from Sapphire Sphinx. Sapphire Sphinx, Mark, if you didn't already know, is led by the spirit captain Mora Moonsinger, who is a banished high elf priestess. And they ask 6 questions. We can take them rapid fire. When will Longship release? Will it be multi-chain like Clipper? Let's start there.
Good question. First on the release thing, Longship helps you go long. I think we want the bottom of the market to be in, or we want everyone to agree that the bottom of the market's in, so that people kind of want to go long again. And also we need another front end developer, so that we have, when we launch Longship, which is developed, we can like support the feedback and the inevitable stuff that comes up, and it's not overwhelming. Like, we don't want to launch things unless we're prepared and resourced to support them. So those are the bottlenecks. But it's like pretty close. With respect to cross-chain or on multiple DEXes, I generally believe that, like, to the degree we can, protocols should be on as many chains as possible. Where it's kind of like there's enough usage and it can add value to that community. It's just a trade-off of one thing at a time,
Right. So similar to that I'm not sure how much you can or want to talk about this, but plans for cross-chain swapping?
Yeah, we've already started working on that in Clipper. It's really cool. We should probably like put out a video that just talks about how we think about it in general, rather than me trying to explain it now.
Yeah,
it's a good question.
How about this to the community? It's important. It's interesting. We have an idea that we think is the best way to do it. So as with everything, we want to do it right and we want to do it best. So, and we have
actually, let me just, when we say best, right? Best is always for a specific type of person, right? You can't be best for everyone.
Yeah.
So, and this goes to a lot of questions people have asked, which is like, what makes Clipper different? What role does it serve in the ecosystem? The answer is Clipper is best for small trades, for retail traders, right? It has the best prices for small trades. It has bad prices for really large trades. And the yields are great, but the pool is capped, okay? And so you can only put in up to, several $1,000s. After that, you have to share fees with the DAOs. And so the Clipper is the best for retail traders, for self-made traders like us who aren't like big whales. That's what Clipper serves. And when we do bridging, we want it to be the best bridge for that user, as opposed to just kind of this amorphous concept of the best.
Great. Thank you. Some of these questions have been answered, but very briefly, number 2, asking to achieve principles of Clipper community value, like what are our plans? Is it able to reward winners with MemeSmith? Pardon me. So glad you asked. That is part of Quest 3. You are able to earn the MemeSmith role if you participate in one of the tasks in the playfulness on your Crew 3. So wait for that for Monday and you can get your MemeSmith role. We talked about cross-chain. We talked about Arbitrum network for swapping. How about a testnet for Longship so new traders can try all features? I guess that's to be determined, right?
Yeah, that's a good point of feedback.
Yeah. And this last, I don't quite know what this last person's asking. Why it's? He says your project is called Clipper. Is this a kind of manifestation of a sense of humor, or is the choice of name due to something else? Oh, he just doesn't understand Clipper. Can you tell like what Clipper and Longship and Shipyard Software?
Oh yeah, sure. So Admiral DAO and all of its DEXes have a nautical theme. So Admiral commands the fleet of ships. Each DEX is a ship. And our company, Shipyard Software, develops, builds ships. Other people can build ships too. So we're Shipyard Software. Clipper is the name of a ship. It's the name of a specific type of ship that was used, I think, in like New England. And it is small and fast and has less cargo. But it was designed to be more profitable because it could make more trips, even though it held less cargo. And so that's what this DEX does, right? It's better for retail traders. It's fast, cheap for small trades. Just like a Clipper is fast, more profitable for small cargos. And so that's why we chose Clipper.
Right. And jumping on that and to answer another question, CryptoCoinism ETH wonders what retail means for us. That means trades under $50,000. Is that fair?
Yes, it means trades under $50,000, and really it means the traders who make trades under $50,000.
That's fair. Yep. Like non-institutions, basically, or not huge money, not whales. We're not anti-whales, but this isn't the place for whales. We're coming up on an hour. It seems like we can keep going, but I want to end where we started with the exciting launch of Arbitrum. So the last question that I'm going to award in the spirit of increasing our knowledge, camaraderie, and playfulness is from Ghost. He's a member of Golden Galleon. He was also one of the art winners. He's really been a super user, I would say, during Adventure 3. Look, guys, if you are active, it becomes immediately apparent. I recognize these names. Ghost is a VIP, and I'll probably assign him an Adventure VIP role at the end of this. But to end like we started, Ghost asks, what time can we start depositing liquidity into Arbitrum? And is there a lockout time period in this network? I don't even know these answers, too, because it's so new. Mark, do you know the answers?
I believe... Well, later this afternoon, later this evening, I don't know exactly what time. We can post that in Discord, and there's no lockup. We're moving away from lockups,
right? So
in general,
Polygon right now was the first core pool that we removed a lockup, and it sounds like we're going to move away from lockup everywhere.
Yeah. One other thing is that Woo's asked that the current liquidity system is complex and uncomfortable for beginners. Just on this topic, you're right. We do have plans to create a simpler liquidity interface and system. Like, it should be out in the next couple weeks.
Keep learning. Okay, great. Mark, I'm going to let you say goodbye so you can go about your day, and I'm going to end things with a giveaway because everyone loves giveaways. You're welcome to stay if you want for the giveaway. We'll be done in 1 minute. So, guys, if you are in, guys and girls and pirates and sailors, everyone.
One more comment is there's a whole lot of questions we didn't get to.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to answer a bunch of them just in the AMA when I can.
Great. And I will, of course, reward people. We want to reward. You know what? Before I do the giveaway, I don't know if you're going to stick around or not, but I just want to say thank you to everyone. And, Mark, I want to give you one last opportunity to give some final words before we go into a giveaway and say goodbye for the day.
Awesome. I'm just like, it's so great that everyone's here. Values and principles are the key thing that will make this successful. If we do that well, we will have a good community. We have a good community. We can create decentralized governance, and we can have a sustainable protocol, a financially sustainable protocol. And if we can do those things, then it creates a launch pad for all of us to build and thrive together. And it all comes back to values and principles. So thank you for engaging with those and engaging in the adventure, which should help increase those.
Thank you so much to Mark. We covered a lot of ground today. I now invite all of my Discord users to head to our resident spam channel of #ahoy. I'm going to start a 30-second giveaway. I'm going to give 2 winners 20 MATIC each. Congratulations. So come here, react to the emoji. Thank you to the 385 people we have in the audience. Adventure 3 comes next week. Arbitrum comes later today. Inventory screen comes on Monday. I'm starting the giveaway right now. You don't need to spam. All you need to do is react to the emoji. And over the next 20 seconds, we find out who our winner is. Let me just again express my thanks to the community, express my thanks to the captains who have made this adventure go so smoothly, to the dev team who's worked so hard behind the scenes, accepting quizzes, launching the inventory stream, to the community for participating, giving us all these great questions, having fun with us, submitting memes. We have 1 second left. We have 2 winners who are going to win 20 MATIC. They are, we're waiting for it, What's Good 036, congrats, and News Utopia. DM me afterwards. I actually have to run for a little bit after this, but I'll get everyone their prizes later today. Thank you so much for joining. And Mark's going to get to questions. And Adventure 3, how exciting, inventory screen, Arbitrum, everything's going so great for Clipper. Couldn't be more excited. Let me say thank you one last time. I'm ending the call. Goodbye. And I'm going to